So far we have talked about several aspects of the fall arrest system. We've talked about harnesses, we've talked about 3 separate fall arrest subsystems. All of this stuff that we're using has to connect to an anchor point. Our anchor points are typically rated to hold a load of 5,000 pounds, or we can go with a 2-to-1 safety factor under the supervision of a qualified person or engineer. So when we look at Anchorage connectors that we buy, we have strap connectors that we can use. This is webbing that has a D-ring on one side for a compatible connection. We've got a loop on the other side. It's designed to be wrapped around the anchorage that we have, and it forms a loop that goes around that anchorage and gives us a compatible anchorage connector at the bottom. All of this material here is rated for 5,000 pounds. It includes label information that tells us how to use the product properly. We also have other anchorage connectors, such as the point guard. This is also a system that's designed to be choked around. So if I have my anchorage here, and that's rated for 5,000 pounds, I can choke this back onto itself. This gives me my compatible connection that I can connect the rest of my system to. We also have cables. Cable slings that are designed for that 5,000 pound load. We want to make sure that it's equipment that's designed for fall protection and not for rigging. That way it's gone through the proper testing procedures. We also have to follow guidelines when using this type of a product to make sure that when we wrap it around something that we don't get these ends opposed to one another, but that we maintain a relationship of at least 45 degrees between the 2 legs so that we don't overload the end. The way we would connect this together would be by using a carabiner. And again, this carabiner would be rated to that 5,000 pounds, and this would be an anchorage connector as well. So that makes up a system that we can use to wrap around an object and then tie our fall arrest system to this particular point. We also have hard anchor points, such as D-rings. This is a D-ring that has a 5/8 inch hole in the bottom. So now if I had a piece of structure, I would take a bolt component that would hold the 5,000 pound load. I could drill a hole, I could mount this into place, and this will give me a 5,000 pound rated anchorage connector. If the substrate that I need to connect this to won't take just a single bolt to maintain that 5,000 pounds, what I have is a anchorage connector plate. Now what we can do is we can put 4 connectors into the substrate that we have in order to achieve our 5,000 pounds, and then we've got our compatible connector that we can connect the rest of our fall arrest system to. Another commonly used component would be a strider. This is a component that we can use to put on to the bottom side of an I-beam. It's adjustable back and forth. This captures the bottom flange of the I-beam, and it gives us an anchorage connector that we can attach the rest of our fall arrest system to. One caution, however, is to make sure that you're using this on a horizontal. If you put it on a vertical and you drop, it's going to come down with you. So again, with any product that you have, make sure you're familiar with the proper use instructions that come along with it from the manufacturer. Another anchorage connector that we have is the point guard concrete anchorage connector. The way this product is used is in pour-in-place concrete construction. We have a lot of rebar, and what we can do is we can attach this looped in around rebar inside the form. This piece would come through the form, and once that concrete is cured, then we have a compatible anchorage connector. And then once that concrete is cured, this becomes a 5,000 pound anchorage that we can either attach a horizontal lifeline to, which we're going to talk about later, or we can use it as a single point anchorage connector for our fall arrest system. One final system that we have to talk about isn't a fall arrest system, but it happens to be what's called a work positioning system. So a lot of times if I'm having to climb up to do work, I would climb up. Once I get above the 6 feet, I've got to have a fall arrest system. But once I'm in place, I need to have my hands free to be able to do work. So I have to maintain 3 points of contact. That third point of contact is typically going to come from some sort of work positioning device. So when we look at this device here, I've got a nice size snap hook that I can attach into the back of a form, or I can attach this into rebar. I've got 2 other snap hooks that can attach to the hip D-rings on my harness. So when I'm using this particular product with these connected to my hip D-rings, I can hold myself in place, keeping in mind that when I have this connection, I want to limit my free fall to 2 feet, and I want to make sure that the connection I'm connected to can support my weight. Another way to accomplish that same feat is to use a lanyard. So this is a lanyard that has no shock absorber in it, called a work positioning lanyard. With this particular lanyard, I could hook this into my hip D-rings, wrap this around a suitable anchor point, and again, I would want to limit my free fall to the 2 feet, and I want to make sure that what I'm attaching to is secure enough to hold the force of that type of a fall. So again, not used for fall arrest, but used for work positioning, or I could rig it for travel restraint.